Caribbean economies have been under increasing pressure as a consequence of increased trade imbalances, loss of international banking correspondence, and the continued phasing out of preferential trade agreements. The agricultural and tourism industries, upon which most of the region have relied on for economic stability, have become largely unreliable due to the effects and constant threats which hurricanes and other natural disasters possess. Therefore, it is evident that the Caribbean must aggressively pursue economic diversification premised on a modern economic philosophy which will allow the region to thrive in a new global economic market. E-commerce, then, is not only vital for an economic rebound, but it is imperative in fostering a regional economic climate which enables sustainable growth and development. So, what is e-commerce? Shaitu 2000 defines e-commerce, electronic commerce, as the production, distribution, marketing, sale, or delivery of goods and services by electronic means. Application of e-commerce goes beyond simply offering products to consumers via the internet. In the current global market, all major corporations conduct a vast majority of business online. E-commerce has drastically altered business strategies employed in non-retail industries such as the financial sector, data processing, and service outsourcing business. It is evident that there are significant advantages to utilizing e-commerce, including expanded market reach, as well as access to new and emerging markets. The recent emergence of online auctions and virtual markets have revolutionized the manner in which large corporations procure materials and supplies. The large volume of business is now available to large and small bidders due to the e-commerce model. Employment of e-commerce also encourages entrepreneurial innovation as it creates a market for new products and services directly associated with the three types of commercial activity e-commerce generates, namely searching, ordering and payment, and delivery. As such, the online sales industry itself requires a wide range of management to support its smooth function, including website hosting, authentication services, database design and management, payment services, as well as logistics and delivery services. Therefore, it is clear that e-commerce serves as stimulus for the entire economy. Likewise, e-commerce can substantially increase efficiency and cost savings, particularly for small businesses which seek to minimize operating expenses. As a region, the Caribbean has made commendable efforts to encourage and promote the growth of e-commerce. This is particularly evident in collaborative measures undertaken, such as the signing of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas in 2002, an agreement under which CARICOM nations committed to develop strategic policies aimed at facilitating the development and deployment of ICT across the region. This has consequentially resulted in the formulation of regional and local policies which aggressively seek to increase the access and decrease the cost of telecommunications and internet services available to all citizens in the Caribbean. Regional governments have made significant investments in communications infrastructure, thus enabling expanded internet coverage at a reduced cost. The elimination of telecommunications monopolies is another vital measure undertaken by regional governments to facilitate the growth and development of e-commerce. By enabling competition in the industry, consumers have benefited from marked reduction in rates as well as drastic improvements in the quality of service provided. The Caribbean's commitment to facilitating the use of e-commerce is also reflected in the recent shift in educational policies, which now include information technology as a major aspect of the curriculum at all levels in the school system. There are several methods through which e-commerce can be effectively incorporated into the e-government platform in Belize. Government agencies responsible for tax collection, and the vital legal documents, such as birth certificates and passports, can vastly be improved by adopting aspects of the e-commerce model. The amalgamation of e-commerce and e-government would reduce processing and waiting time for all consumers. Belize's government is the largest purchaser of goods and services. Traditionally, bid procedures for contracts was complicated and unscrupulous, resulting in speculation concerning the legitimacy of the processes. Now, using e-commerce platforms, all bids are available for public scrutiny, which provides the citizenry with transparency and accountability for the manner in which public finances are utilized. Likewise, implementation of e-commerce in government improves the overall quality and scope of government services by appealing to people across a broad cross-section to engage with government agencies without the need to physically appear. This leads to greater participation in government processes, especially amongst the young, technologically inclined population. Another benefit of utilizing e-commerce is that it reduces the requisite number of civil servants necessary to adequately manage government business and provide access to information concerning government services. This would benefit Belize by reducing the enormous wage bill. The usage of e-commerce would likewise improve record keeping, since all transactions would be conducted and stored electronically, making access and retrieval an easy task as compared to the present difficult paper system. The arts and craft industry in Belize caters primarily to cruise ship visitors. This is another potential area where e-commerce can be effective in improving the overall economic performance. Despite the high quality of the merchandise produced locally, craft makers in Belize have been largely unrecognized and undercompensated for their ingenuity and skill due to a lack of exposure and marketing. The usage of e-commerce to market and sell these locally made products online enables entrepreneurs and artisans to enjoy greater access to local, national, regional, and global markets, and thus they would be able to tap into an exponentially larger market. This in turn will definitely result in increased revenue flow for the individual and by extension, the country. By directly offering their products for sale to customers without the use of an intermediary, artists are able to offer to sell at a reduced price and also increase their profitability. There are several international granting institutions, such as the IDB Technological Innovation Program, which can offer invaluable direct and indirect assistance in Belize's efforts to promote e-commerce in the local arts and craft industry. This assistance is crucial in developing better branding and marketing techniques to compete on a global scale. Diversification of the products offered for sale based on consumer demand, and management of spin-off jobs created as a result of the increase in production and consequent expansion. Although there are significant benefits to be accrued from engagement in e-commerce, one must be cognizant of the inherent difficulties which would accompany it, particularly in developing countries. The primary challenge to the effective implementation of e-commerce in a small country such as Belize lies in the access to hardware and software necessary for the digital flows and to build communication networks. Due to poor economic conditions and high costs, internet access is not available to a vast majority of the populace. As a result, policymakers are tasked to find creative solutions to overcome this challenge. finding capital to improve the national ICT infrastructure is urgent. Similarly, the digital illiteracy poses another significant challenge to e-commerce in the Caribbean. Since all aspects of the system require some knowledge of ICT, enormous efforts must be made to provide the general public with the basic ICT literacy training. Traditionally, the Caribbean has not been responsive to changes in technology, and training programs in the school system are outdated and inadequate. Caribbean schools curriculums must include areas such as web design and development, database management, multimedia applications, and specific applications such as JavaScript and front page, which are basic tools for the development of e-commerce and e-business. Another challenge to the successful application of e-commerce is that it may threaten the survival of traditional retail businesses, and thus many individuals who wield influence in the business community may be resistant and in fact mount active opposition to this new form of trade. Similarly, small business ventures that evolve to the e-commerce model may suffer because of the increase in demand for their products, and they may be unable to meet the demand that rapidly increases. Hence, it is vital that small businesses have access to necessary capital to be able to expand. It is clear that e-commerce represents a paradigm shift in the global business approach, and so, in order to remain relevant and competitive, it is imperative for small island developing states to engage in real economic reform. However, this can only materialize through the cognizance of regional governments that e-commerce is a part of a broader process of economic, social, and cultural change characterized by the globalization of markets and the shift toward a global economy based on knowledge and information. ICTs should be given more priority and acknowledged as a cornerstone for strategic development. E-commerce is here to stay, and e-commerce is the bridge to the future. Small island developing states must advance in this avenue. Caribbean economies have been under increasing pressure as a consequence of increased trade imbalances